Welcome back to the channel, everybody. This is Kodeations coming at you today with another video on Skylanders Ring of Heroes. And today we're going to be diving into the #1 question that I see out there in the community, and that is going to be, how do I look at my box of Skylanders and determine a good team composition, or just a team composition in general? You know, what are some tips and tricks when it comes to building team compositions, and just basically all of it and anything to do with building team compositions. I'm hopefully going to cover that in today's video. So with that being said, as always, before we dive in, if you are new to the channel and you want to stay up to date with all the latest and greatest mobile games, then be sure to smash that red subscribe button and hit that notification bell so you get notification every time we drop a video. And with that being said, let's dive right in. Diving right in, ladies and gentlemen, the first thing we're going to be taking a look at is going to be your individual box. So if you hop over here to your Skylanders and you're going to click on the collection little arrow here, and it's going to pull up all of the Skylanders that you currently have collected. Now, if you are watching this video and you have just landed in the game and you have not done any summons whatsoever, you're going to have only a handful of Skylanders. And if that's the case, then I highly recommend you go and check out my tips and tricks video. Make sure you are watching that for beginners, because that way you can at least get a good understanding of what you should be looking for and what you should be doing. And not only that, you can take advantage of those tips and tricks early on day one. But with that being said, you want to make sure that you are popping off some summons, because you need a handful of Skylanders in order to really efficiently try to build a team composition and really evaluate what direction the game is trying to push you in building what Skylanders. Because if you are a free-to-play player, you're only going to get so many summons here and there. Now, the game is very generous. It does give you a lot of different gem currency in order to pop off some summons, a lot of free tickets in the game in order to pop off some summons, so you're going to definitely accumulate additional summons as you go. But I highly recommend for that first week that you at least spend, I don't even know, I'm going to say, I would just venture to say maybe the first full week of you playing in the game, utilize a lot of your gems for doing individual summons, because you want to make sure that you have a handful, like I said, a collection of Skylanders, so you just get a really good understanding of what direction the game is trying to push you. Now, if you're a whale and you're going to end up buying every single Skylander that's out there, every single banner that pops, whatever, then, you know, to each your own, I guess. But, you know, I don't really know why you dropped on the video. But anyways, let's go ahead and dive into here, and I want to show you guys what exactly building a team composition all entails. And then hopefully by the end of this video, you will have a better understanding, you know, of your box and your Skylanders, and then can try to basically start theory crafting some of these hero compositions. So the first thing that we need to do right off of the bat is going to be mentally block out every single non-super boosted Skylander that you have. So if you were just playing the game for the very first time and you have no clue what I am talking about, on each one of these portraits, you can see in the top right hand corner there is this yellow flower, or somebody like Ember, for instance, that has nothing filled in. It's not yellow, it's grayed out. And then you see somebody like Jetvac here that only has 3 out of all 5 of those little those little blocks, or whatever you want to call them, to put that yellow flower, you know, together. That's going to mean the difference between a max super boosted, which is this full filled in yellow, to a non-super boosted, which is going to be the gray, to a partially super boosted Skylander. Now, 100%, if you, like I said, if you haven't watched my tips and tricks video, you should go check that out now. But nevertheless, you want to make sure that you are not utilizing your super boost keys or resources on Skylanders that are not of that legendary or that heroic level. Okay, it's just a massive waste. You're gonna get enough summons over time from like your wish stones, from like sending friendship hearts or whatever to people, you know, collecting those wish stones. And not only that, you're gonna get a lot of just rare Skylanders and premium Skylanders in general. So you're gonna naturally, as you summon copies of those, complete the super boost mark. But you definitely don't want to be wasting your keys on that. I would highly suggest you save the super boost keys until you really know what team composition that you are looking to build or going to build, and then, like I said, and then whichever direction the game is going to push you, and then that's going to be where you can utilize and pick and choose. Okay, I'm going to build this legendary and I'm going to build this heroic, because again, if you're free to play, it's not going to be advised to build multiple legendaries no matter what team composition you are building, unless you just happen to get stinking lucky, get them max super boosted and stuff. But even then, it's still going to be really tough to max out their skills and everything else as you go forward with 2 legendaries. So just keep that in mind. But that's going to be the first tip. Block out mentally remove them because come to us. They don't have the option in here to filter it yet, but we would love to have the option to filter based on your super boost amount from your Skylander box. But so mentally block out anything that you don't have max super boosted. That's number one tip. You're going to be running you're going to be running max super boosted Skylanders. The next thing you need to do is, it's a little bit vague, but you need to dive into the Skylanders that you currently have. You need to be up to date and reading on their skills. Now, the two versions that I think you should focus on are going to be in the collection section here, because you can see the base value of that individual Skylander, because that's how you're going to use them right off of the bat, unless if you have enough resources to invest, you know, on the day one you get them. But you also need to focus in, you also need to focus in on the maxed out version of those Skylanders, because that's going to be what you're building for. As a you know, player in the game, you're trying to mid-max all of your resources, and you're looking to build that in-game team, or you want to invest in a team, or especially invest in a Skylander that's going to allow you to continue to use them all the way through the game's progression, no matter what content you're covering. And that's going to be the reason why, you know, you need to look at the in-game goal. Okay, so again, diving in here, reading the skills. You want to focus on two things when you're checking out the skills, and that's going to be things like the mana cost of each skill, the cooldown on each skill, the skill rotation. You know, you're going to want to know, okay, what buff does this put on my unit? What debuff does this put on the enemy? You know, what exactly am I sacrificing by utilizing this skill? What passives does the individual Skylander have? How does it benefit me? How does it work together? So to give you guys an example, I use Gear Shift here because Gear Shift is labeled as a defensive tech unit. However, by herself, she's not good. In my opinion, she's not good. As a standard tech defensive unit with nobody around her to aid her in her abilities, she never gets a provoke popped off. She's never going to be able to build up the additional evasion, like, you know, a lot of that stuff, because her kit specifically states as her passive, any enemy that she attacks that has the parts debuff on them, that's when she can then steal that parts debuff, add that provoke to herself for 2 turns, and not only that, give herself an evasion rate up by 30% for 4 turns. So that's gonna be where she really shines. She relies on somebody else to do parts onto the enemy, because none of her skills have that ability. So again, getting to know your Skylander and where it works. So because that's the way she is, going with somebody like Sprocket is gonna work hand in hand. This is the ultimate duo combo, in my opinion, for evasion, because or at least in general when it comes to a tech evasion team. And that's going to be because Sprocket has an ability that once maxed out and awakened, she's going to apply parts to 3 out of the 4 random enemies at an 85% chance. So it's almost all the time going to hit on parts on 3 out of the 4 enemies. Not only that, that means every time Gear Shift's going to attack, he's going to be hitting a unit that's going to have the parts debuff, and then he's going to be proccing off his provoke, basically turning her into the tank that she is supposedly designed for. So again, knowing that, that's going to allow me to basically pick and choose the Skylanders that I put them with, okay? Now, the next one up that we've got that's going to fit that same team composition is going to be Robo. Robo, again, he has a really high cost mana skill. He's got a 4 mana cost skill, but it's got a low cooldown of only 2 turns, and all 3 of the other Skylanders that I run on my team composition, which is this 3 currently right here, or this 4, if you will look at this direction, so it's going to be this 4 here. Nevertheless, they all are running below, I think they're all 2 mana cost skills, and with that being the case, that's why I'm not upset or not worried about the mana cost being 4 from Robo as my only hero or my only Skylander that has that, but he's going to do big dick damage. I can't say that enough. I mean, he's just a single target nuker, and not only that, he also procs on parts. So if he hits a unit that's got parts on it, boom, an additional 20% of damage on this specific skill. Not only that, he's got the first skill of his that only costs 2 mana, and it has the ability to apply parts. So between him and Sprocket, I can have all 4 enemies having parts on them at all times, and I could be using Gear Shift to get his max provoke and his max evasion up. That's going to be what I mean by team synergy, really diving in, looking at the skills, making sure that the mana cost is not too high, because running like a mana cost team that costs really expensive when it comes to mana utilization is going to hurt you, because you're going to have what they call stale turns, or you're going to be basically waiting for skills to come off cooldown, or you're going to be utilizing a crap ton of mana in 1 or 2 skills that you're not going to be able to pop off any more damage. So you're just going to be basically wasting your turns, or you're going to be having to do more turns, which inevitably will prevent you from something like in the adventure mode from 3-starring stuff, because you're just taking way too long in order to do enough damage. So that's going to be the reason why you want to make sure you're focusing on those aspects when it comes to knowing the individual Skylander. The same thing goes for cooldowns. You want to make sure that, you know, not all of your skills are on cooldown for every one of your Skylanders at the exact same time, because if that happens, then you got a whole nother round, or multiple rounds potentially, that you're not doing any damage again, and all you're doing is getting smacked and taking damage. So you don't want to get in either of those two avenues. Another really good rare unit that you can pretty much add to any team composition, no matter what, it's kind of off topic, but it's going to be Flashwing. Hands down, everybody is using Flashwing right now. You don't need her awakened. And then, as you can see here, we only have her maxed out in 4-star gear, and she can clear anything in the game with any team composition. So again, very, very good unit. Don't sleep on Flashwing. Moving on to the next thing that you need to know when it comes to building a team composition is knowing what the fight is. Okay, that's what my title is over here for my note section for that. But you need to know more so on what content you are looking to build this team composition for. Because, for instance, if you are looking to build this to, for instance, let's just say clear the 50th floor in the tower, well, all you really need to know is that the boss has a charging mechanic. That charging skill goes off. It nukes your entire team, potentially kills them in one shot, depending on, you know, where you are in as far as your actual progression. But not only that, the easy way to mitigate that is going to be add a silence member to your team. So a Skylander that can, you know, put a silence on the boss when he's doing the charge skill, or a KO team, you know, somebody that can reduce his endurance down, knock him out, save your knockout, you know, and for that specific charging round, you knock him out, boom, bada bing, he doesn't use that charging skill, his cooldown resets, guess what, he doesn't pop off that skill, you don't die, you continue pushing forward and potentially covering the content. But knowing that ahead of time will basically push you in a direction to know what Skylanders to focus on. Any Skylanders got a KO on them, or like a knockout status, and then any Skylander that has the ability to silence. So again, that's going to be just one of those things, you know, knowing the fight. If you were grinding out in the adventure mode on one of these boss stages over and over and over again, trying to grind out experience, you know, your individual evolution splendors, and or, you know, your individual gold, whatever you're doing, if that's all you're doing, then you should be focusing on trying to build a team that's going to do a crap ton of damage and AoE damage, because that's going to help you clear waves faster. That's going to increase the run times, and not only that, in essence, it's going to increase the amount of resources that you can farm in the same amount of time. So you want to make sure that that's going to be something you're doing. Same thing goes for PvP. If you are looking for running a defensive team on PvP, building tanky units with some support is going to be the best way to go, because you can stall out the other team. Hopefully they can't kill you until the timer runs up at the least. The next thing up, if you're running, you know, the attacking team on PvP, again, a very good, you know, example of that would be running 3 DPS and a support. You're going to be attacking, you're going to be manually playing, you're going to be going up against AI, so you want to try to make sure that you are putting out as much damage as possible to get through those tanky teams, but still keeping your team alive in case if you do happen to take a little bit of damage. So again, that's going to be just a little bit of example, but that's going to be the next thing. Just know the fight, what you're building the team composition for, and then that way it'll push you in a little bit of a better direction to focus on what Skylanders for that specific content you're looking to cover. Now, that moves me on to the next thing, and that last thing that we're going to be talking about is going to be when you dive into the individual stages here. The individual Skylanders. I want to give you 3 team compositions that I definitely think that anybody will have the ability to build, okay? And by the way, on a side note, stay tuned. We've got another video dropping very, very soon. I'm super excited to bring this video to you guys, and that's going to be going way more in depth when it comes to each individual Skylander, talking about like when to upgrade what skill on that Skylander, what substats on specific gear that you should be focusing on or trying to build for that specific Skylander. So again, stay tuned for that. You're not going to want to miss it. Make sure you have subscribed and make sure that you hit that notification bell so you know when that video drops, because you're not going to want to miss it. I promise you. I'm going to deliver. I promise. But anyways, so the first team composition that I'm going to have on here is going to be the Firebomb comp, right? A lot of players right now know a lot about this, but Smolder Dash is going to be an OP unit. So if you summon a bunch of copies of Smolder Dash, or maybe you summon one copy of her and you desperately want to build that Fire Explode comp, then you cannot feel bad about investing your keys or your resources into Smolder Dash. She's a heroic, so she meets that criteria between, I said at the beginning of the video, heroic or legendary, but basically just going all in on her and then pretty much just matching her up with any other fire units or any other bomb units that you want to build her with. She's pretty much going to work well with that, but that's going to be a very easy team composition. You can focus, summon her in the premium summons by doing single summons and only selecting the fire avenue. Maybe you'll eventually get an Ember as well, that legendary that you can then add to that team composition just to make it that much better. But that's going to be a very easy team composition that you can build, you know, for anybody that's watching this video that is curious. The next one up is going to be a rares only team composition. And that's going to be from the starter units that you get. So you've got Eruptor here, you've got Stealth Elf, and then you also have Flash Wing. Now, this 3 combo, I've already done a video covering C6 on that at max 4-star gear. Anybody can achieve that. It's very, very easy to get. And yes, even free-to-play players, it's very easy to do. All it's going to require is a lot of grinding and time. But these 3 units just by themselves, not even having a 4th unit, is a strictly rare-only team, and you can cover all of the content in the game. I just beat 10-7 the other night on a live stream, a video coming soon, so stay tuned for that, but I just beat 10-7 as well, utilizing only these 3 Skylanders, so just keep that in mind. Now, the last team that I have for you guys is going to be a knockdown KO team, and that is going to be running somebody like Igniter or Thunderbolt, because they have really good amounts of endurance down for a cheap low mana cost, and they are rare units that you can, you know, invest in and skill up very easy compared to heroic and legendaries. And not only that, you just pair them with pretty much any heroic or legendary at that point. You know, so you're going to pair, you know, like the Igniter, Thunderbolt, and Flashwing. This would be your team composition with anybody else. So you can pick a heroic or a legendary to add to the team composition and not feel bad about it. It makes for a really good and easy knockdown team, and things for like, you know, Dark Subjugation, things like that, you know, depending on what content you're trying to cover, but nothing else. It's a very easy to build team composition. So that's going to be it for me, ladies and gentlemen. Like I said, stay tuned on the channel. We've got that video dropping. Drop a comment down below. Let me know what you guys think on this individual video. Do you have any other tips to add to the community that I maybe didn't cover in the video that you think new players or any players looking to specifically build team composition should know? So that's going to be it for me. I love you guys. As always, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you get a notification every time we drop a video, and I will see you guys on the next one.